go anywhere when there's a party without his own food. He eat for himself and share.
That's the perfect way.
It is.
Bring your own.
Bring your own. That's the best.
It is the best.
There's some good ingredients you have in this bread.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, please.
But I know I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, it's not that difficult. Thank you.
Tell them I'm gonna take that picture.
Huh?
You tell them I'm gonna pan the
Is it
room.
okay if we take pictures of folks in here? Okay. Anyone? So can we picture you?
Delicious.
Say it again.
Delicious.
Good,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Pardon me, pardon me, pardon me.
Okay, so that if you have not gone everything is
How the green
How we got started.
CDs. So you have like guided meditation CDs, and you have a book.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, thank you for coming out and supporting us. Oh my God, it's just
Buying the
so much
books,
fun.
eating the food,
Yeah.
spreading the good word.
Absolutely.
Now, for those of you that don't know, this is Mama Nasira, and I am Dr. Gregory Joe Bledsoe, affectionately known as Dr. Joe.
Nice to meet you.
Okay? We were so blessed to have finally come out with the books. We have 3 of them. We started, it took us 27 months to do it. Now, when you read chapter 5, most men are slow, then you'll understand why I thought it was going to be done a lot sooner, okay? But my wife and I, we have this thing with our friends, our relatives, and loved ones having heart attacks, strokes, gout, rheumatism, arthritis, hair falling out. They were falling out, seizures, and a lot of it is because lack of information. And a lot of it happened because there were marketing people. This is America, and it's all about making the big bucks. But that marketing was so good, it had us doing things that we really shouldn't be doing. And it took us out of our element, and as a result, we're here coming back to glory. Mama, tell them how you started.
Right.
Well, actually, I got started like most of us in America was eating the meat, and I did have a family where my mother did not work, and I was able to eat healthy, whole foods. My father was a carpenter. After growing up, going to college, I wanted to go into the medical field, and I decided I wanted to be a medical lab tech, and so I got a position in 1972 in San Francisco as a phlebotomist. And it was excellent. I had moved away from home with roommates and wasn't eating exactly the same way as I ate at home. However, fast forward, I had an accident after drawing a patient's blood. She bumped me and the needle stuck me and I contracted hepatitis B. I was 19. And that was a really, a turning point, whereas, the doctor said, well, you're going to have to eat the way your mother raised you, because they can tell from a series of blood tests that those hamburgers and french fries and all that wasn't my diet. It was killing me. So didn't have really a foundation other than going back to my mother and saying, well, we don't have to, teach me better how to cook. So I learned how to cook the greens and the cornbread, but I omitted that meat, them ham hocks, that was so good. And I decided to use the bouillon cubes, and at the time garlic and bell peppers and celeries, and then I got introduced to more spices and herbs, although I came from a family where my parents had spices and herbs because they had farm. And because I was raised in San Francisco, there were a lot of changes. But anyway, I just, over the years, I paid attention to my body. My body was very sensitive to things. I've even learned that if you're 20, you know, you can kind of get away with a lot of things. And I was physically fit. I jogged and exercised and danced. So a lot of things you eat, you know, you burn it off. But by the time I had gotten to 30, I noticed I had started a family, 3 sons, and they ate healthy because I was unable to eat fast foods. And one of my sons, who's now 31, he said, I only remember eating McDonald's one time. But I think it was a few more, but because it was so, you know, very few in between, in other words, he does now remember that he ate healthy and now he has to go back to it. And my one son, he ended up with, I think, diabetes. He's living in Alaska and was drinking and working, not sleeping, similar to me, Capricorns, you know, we usually go for the gusto. But when he told me that, I sent him recipes and he started changing his diet and he didn't have to take the medication. Oh yeah, so that's one of my stories to on this path, and I've been also helping people too. You know, a lot of my friends that are in their 50s and 60s, they're the ones that are having the illnesses, and so I've been preparing meals like this for them, and they said, "Ooh, this." Otherwise I wouldn't have never really known. So it's the people that tell me how they enjoy the food, and I become more and more creative, and I also read other recipes, and then I'll add my spin to it.
You know, my story is one of bliss and happiness. Why? I'm married to this woman, okay? I started off going to Oakland, I think it was health food store. They had a cafe a long time ago. And I happened to have met her, she was at the Organic Cafe. Prior to that, I was checking on some of my music in one of the libraries, because as some of you know, I'm a musician and my music's here, there, and everywhere. And I ran into her, and I told her about my music, and I asked her, had she heard about it? No, she hadn't. So I gave her some music. And then I didn't see her for a while. She like disappeared for years. And then later she emerged again. And I said, wow, there's that lady again. And I asked her about my music. How do you like it? She said, oh, I know it's good. And right then I knew she did really good. It was good. And then she disappeared again. And then she emerged at Whole Foods. And I saw her there, and we had a dialogue. She invited me over. I came over from a radio station. I was on a talk show. And I saw her cutting up all of these vegetables, lining them up. I said, oh, this is good. And I found out she was catering. I jumped in and I was helping her. Because see, I'm a Cancer. Opposite. Cancer rules the stomach. Hello! That got my attention.
Right.
But what we found is we could not keep up with the people we were catering. So we started classes. We couldn't keep up with the classes. So I retired after 30 years. I was teaching before that law school, and she was library technician. And we just sat down to write the book. No TV, no doorbell. We concentrated and focused. Now I can truly tell you, I was held up with her food, okay? Because there were some times we didn't know. And because we had to go through so many incredible, shall we say, experiences with people trying to take advantage of us, that will be coming out in one of the other books. It's called Spicy Tasty Vegan, The Making of the Books. And it is a company, okay? But all of this, say fast forward, get with this lady. We started doing this. Finally, the books came out. And now we're getting them out to different stores, getting them out on Amazon, and we can't hardly keep up with our end of it. They're flying off the shelves. And so what we wanted to do is show you why it's flying off the shelf. And to let you know also that my wife has an approach to cooking. It's sustainable. It's proven for the week. That's one of the reasons why we have so many ex-vegans and vegetarians, because they did not have an approach for the week. I started telling them about the approach.
Oh yes, and following my situation with my diet, because I worked all day and was in school, so I was away from home for 12 hours. So I remember, because my parents used to cook, my mother cooked 2 days or 3 days worth of food. Well, I decided Sunday after my studies, I would just cook for the whole week. And that gave me an opportunity to not have to worry about eating anyone else's food, and I was able to stay on time, and also going to the farmers markets, you know, buying the plant-based foods. And then I take all of everything and chop it up. This is what I do today, and I'll do a stew, or you know, my salad. I may do tabbouleh with my wild rice and quinoa, a little bit of millet, just blended. I can add it in with the vegetables, or I can add it in with fruits. And my smoothies, I have all of that in place. And also, since I don't eat any animal products, I invest a lot of money in plant foods. You know, I do chlorella, chlorophyll, maca, chia seeds. You name it. Plant-based bees, MSM. My cabinet is, as you know, go into my house, you see everything. You know.
You can tell by your complexion it's just shining.
I thank you. So it's been an education for myself, and then the fact that I'm a type A positive, I learned some years ago. You know, we don't supposed to eat any animal products because I have a very low tolerance to acid. So I have to more or less do alkaline, you know, because if you put in the healthy supplements in your body, then your pancreas and your liver will alkaline your body. So you don't really have to have all this alkaline water, which is another story.
Which brings us to why we have two books. Well, this one here is Spicy Tasty Vegan, an informative health guide for the melanated. Now, melanated, we have people of color in parentheses, but we're really talking about Carver and Carlin. But this is a term that is familiar to most, so that's why we put it there. Now, the reason we wrote it is because of our differences. We're very different. I'll give you a few examples. Number one, because our pineal gland controls the rate of bone growth, our bones are 10 times stronger or denser than the Europeans, which means your hemoglobin, your T cell count, your white cell count is all going to be different. Our blood is different. If you were to take a blood cell and burn it, you'll see ours is going to be more of a crystal pyramid, where Europeans are not. They have more sulfur in their body. That's why when they get wet, their hair gives off a smell, and more ammonia and salt. That keeps their body warm. That's why they can be in an office and you're cold and they're not, or they're wearing little or nothing on and you die doing that. Okay? But yet, the challenge becomes, even though we have these differences, when we go to most medical doctors, whose standard are they using to diagnose you, evaluate you, or administer drugs? So that becomes very problematic. So we said, okay, what can our people do? Well, let's go back to what works for our body types. Number one, an alkaline diet. We're just talking about fruits, grains, vegetables, seeds, legumes, or beans, but stay away from the acid stuff. And acid would be your white sugar, white flour, white rice, white bread, most white things.
And of course your meats.
Stay away from meat, that's acid, caffeine, and alcohol. So if you stay away from that and stick with alkaline, it makes it very simple. Now also, we had to write this book because there are some health alerts. Number one, vegetable oils. Here, I have vegetable oil. Sounds healthy, doesn't it? Vegetable. Hey, vegetable.
It sounds good.
But if you're looking at vegetable like soybean, safflower, canola, corn, all of these clear-looking vegetable oils, they have omega fats in them. And when you heat them up, like you do when you refine them, those omega fats turn rancid or spoil. But you don't smell them because they put deodorizers and bleach and other stuff in there. But when it gets into your body, since it can't really assimilate it, you end up with more mucus, inflammation, and pus in your body. Alert, alert. The other alert.
Real talk.
It's called table salt.
Yes.
Now, table salt comes from table mines. They use hoses to get it out, but just by the mere heat of those hydraulic hoses hitting it, it changes the molecular structure.
Yep.
So your body can't really assimilate. But, so they want to make it pour better and look better. You're looking at the bleached crude oil chips. You're looking at aluminum. Oh my goodness. Cyanide, derivatives, and the FDA allows them to put up to 2% talcum in it. Not to mention sugar.
Oh my God.
And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
yes, and then iodine, synthetic iodine.
That's right.
So if you put this in your body, it's the same stuff that they put in most junk food. You're going to end up with, once again, more inflammation, mucus, and pus in your body.
And high blood pressure too, and cholesterol problem.
We would recommend mineral salt.
Mineral salt.
Yes, ma'am.
The pink
Okay.
Himalayan salt or sea salt.
And instead of vegetable oil,
Yeah.
we suggest coconut oil.
Okay.
If it's raw and unrefined,
Okay.
because as my wife said, you can use it for high heat. In other words, you can fry stuff in there.
Oh yes, there
But
it is.
vegetable oils, it only a certain temperature. So we would suggest second to that would be olive oil, and only extra virgin olive oil.
Extra virgin olive oil for low heat.
If it's not extra virgin olive oil, they put in vegetable oil.
They mix them.
They mix them.
So it's better to just extra virgin for
For
sure.
well heat.
For low
Does
heat.
it change it if you do high heat on
Yes,
that? Yeah,
it
it does.
does.
It does.
Flavors of the
Become
food.
rancid.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
so-
coconut
If
oil
I'm
is
talking
one
about
of
Yeah,
the-
it's-
popcorn,
yeah.
that's it.
Huh? Yeah,
In
well,
olive
when I
oil,
do,
extra virgin.
I would do it in coconut oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
And it's
very
even
much.
more tasty
Avocado
too.
oil too, if I use avocado oil.
Oh, okay.
I kind of shy against anything that's being refined, unless I'm refined.
They're saying coconut oil is really good to cook with.
No, it's
Well,
the best.
these sound like the same people that use coconut. Santa Claus, the Easter egg bunny, laying the eggs, you know. The
Yeah.
bottom line is we have different body types, and different things support different bodies. We wrote the book for melanated people because we're showing you things that support our body type.
That's right.
Now, since there's such great physiological differences, of course, their body could use something else. That's why we wrote the second book. Why? Because we love everybody. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't want to leave out just certain topics or certain things that are key to everyone.
For instance, like the garlic. How many of you are using garlic?
Oh, I use a whole lot of them.
Well, we learned that garlic is good when you have it's like a medicine. You know,
Yes.
when you have a
It's a
challenge
blood
with your
purifier.
bacteria problems, diabetes, or cholesterol, then it's okay for 4 or 5 days.
Oh.
But after that, you should back off of it because it starts to eat on the cell membrane.
Oh.
So we left that garlic in that particular book because that's what we were doing ourselves. But in our melanated book, we're better with the alkaline fruit, and that's the shallots. Shallots is from the garlic family, but it's healthier and it's more alive.
Then the
Onion-
garlic.
Yes, it's more alive. And also the staying away from onion. You know, that's not
It
necessarily.
sounds right.
Now, if you go to the farmer's market and they just grown it, then it's okay. But generally, you know, if you go to Safeway, they may have that onion and garlic in the storage area for maybe a few months.
At least.
At least. Now, the shallots, they won't live that long. So you have to hurry up. When we chop ours up, you know, within a 4-day period, I'm adding it to, you know, whatever it is I'm preparing.
So you're saying use shallots instead of onion?
Yes, and use scallions. Because they're fresh.
Okay.
Green onions.
Green onions, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Instead
Okay,
of onions.
fresh, yeah.
And
Those
also-
onions are old sometimes.
Yes, they are.
It make you tear up.
We
Yeah,
need to
it's
have
not-
food that's alive, electric.
Right.
Mhm.
And as my wife pointed out, wild rice, not
Yes.
the red, not the all those others.
Brown and the
because
black, 'cause those
they
are
turn into
processed.
starch and sugar in your body.
Oh.
But wild rice
It
is from the
doesn't.
grass family. It's a seed, so it doesn't. Now,
It's really a fruit. I found out from Dr.
But what
Elaine
about quinoa?
from Africa.
quinoa is very
Oh,
good.
yeah, that's excellent.
Okay,
That's
that's
the
good.
mother
That's
of
good.
grains.
Oh,
and you
okay.
put them together like we do on a
Yeah,
lot of
this is
things.
what this is. Did I bring it? No, I added it to here. I made wild rice, and the wild rice cooks longer. So if I want to blend it with quinoa or millet, I add I usually start out with 6 cups of water. So I'll add 2 cups of wild rice for 15 minutes.
Yes, well, right. Take a
Then
little longer.
it takes 50 minutes. And then
So
it
that's
depends
keep
on
that
the
as a
weight.
staple, a
Yes.
wild rice.
Yes, wild
With your
rice is from the
quinoa
grass.
and your
And the millets,
and the
you know,
millet.
little millets and
Because they
amaranth
get
is
done in
good.
no time. The
Oh,
millet
yeah.
and quinoa.
Yeah, those cook
So
a lot,
maybe just cook the
yeah, you
wild
only need
rice
to cook
first.
those for maybe 20 minutes. You know, it depends on your stove range. You know, some
Thank
have
you
electric
for
or
that.
gas. Yeah, and then we have it in the books, whereas you can just you know, try the recipes
Yeah.
at will, and you can even divide it up and do it, you know, on various days.
How much is your book?
The black and white is $20.
Uh-huh.
And of course, color, we
And-
sell it for $40 because Amazon is selling it for $79.
They've broken a lot of hearts.
They sure
Because
have.
You've written a book with illustrations, pictures, whatever, a lot of them, just across the board. I know we were invited to a book signing and we wanted to go, but when we heard $80, I mean, you know, besides your mom and someone you really love, who's gonna be able to afford that?
Yeah.
So we were
But you said
blessed.
they're selling them.
Yeah.
They're selling them off the shelf.
You can
They're
sell
selling,
Amazon.
yeah, because we
Amazon,
have
yeah.
black and white too.
Yeah, the black and white.
Yeah, so yeah.
So you're going to be selling them here?
Yeah, we
Yes.
sell
So
the
when I get
same
the
here.
money, I
And
can
we
come
have
buy
Oh,
it.
yeah, you can come
digitals,
here
we have
and
digitals,
purchase.
you can download those for $5.95.
And that's a really
The
good
color book for
bargain.
him. Look, it's not about money for us. We're about helping and saving
But
on
they're
people.
corporate. They
We're
gotta
already
make-
taken
They're
care of.
corporate. They got to make.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
They're
corporation.
And we don't mind
Just
because
come
they
in.
are going to be what? Packaging the books and sending them out like they do.
That's good.
We're hitting close to 70. We ain't got time to be doing that one, okay? Now, health alert. Microwave. Raise your hand if you have a microwave oven.
Okay.
It's no good.
Well,
This is,
now,
turkey with
before
all
they
the
changed the
vegetables,
name
Famous Market.
for marketing
This is
purposes,
salmon,
it was called radiation oven.
turmeric and cardamom
Now, and its purpose still hasn't changed. So stay away from, when you cut it on, don't get in front of it, don't have your children, your pets in front of it. Now, in terms of your food, when you put your food inside a microwave and pull it out,
you know, we just kind of
98% of all the nutrients are gone.
And it has all the different
Okay?
spices and
So what are you
herbs
doing?
in it.
You're eating mostly
And
dead
put
food.
all of the
And
vegetables
anytime
in
you
it.
eat dead food, your body has to have an exchange. So it takes minerals from itself to break it down. So if you continue eating microwave food, you can be malnutrition. Okay? The other, sure. Also, another alert.
Yeah.
All of these are in the book, and we have a lot of them.
And the
This-
first and the second are both.
It's in the book for 420
And
pages.
this is plantain.
The first one.
The
Yes.
pineapple
The
and
79
ginger.
No. We have that for black and white too. So we get that for $20.
Oh, yes, yes.
Now,
yes.
what we have done,
And this
since
is,
with Arthur's, we
roasted
buy them. And it costs us
cauliflower
$39, $38, so we sell them for $40 just so people want color.
Brussels sprouts.
But in terms of
And then I
all
have a
of the
little
things in
squash
there,
here.
like the microwave, yes. Vitamins. How
Yes.
many of you have taken vitamins? Okay. Now, what's important is to know the difference between plant-based
Thank you.
and synthetic.
And I have
Wonderful
lots of kale and
example.
dandelion in
How many of
there.
you heard of Steve Jobs? Had a lot of money, didn't he?
And he did.
He was taking a lot of vitamins. What kind do you think? Do you think it was plant-based or synthetic? All that money, but if you don't know, it will take you out.
Couldn't say.
So, if you're going to take vitamins, make sure you can look on it and see the source. It
Does
should
it
tell
say
you.
plant-based on
It
the
will tell you
vitamins?
where it comes from. If it's berries, if it's citrus, it will tell you.
Okay.
If it gives you a whole bunch of names you cannot pronounce, quietly tip away from
Tip
it.
away from it, this chemical. Yeah.
Okay?
Tip away from it.
So that is important. Vitamins, plant-based.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so are there any questions? And I have my spices here, letting folks know
I'm getting
what I
ready to
have
buy
here.
some of that mineral salt right now.
The turmeric, you know all about the turmeric. That reduces the inflammation, pain.
I get it fresh now.
It's
ground it
really
up.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does it do? Pain? Like if I
Pain.
having some
Yeah, if you have knee issues at nighttime before I go to bed, I'll have this in water, and then I may add some MSM that's good for your joints and bones,
just like warm
Sister,
water.
can you help me?
or tea. Yes.
Just one piece, man.
And MSM, and then we also
Just
have
one piece of your
ginger.
Thank you.
This is fennel, which is fennel is from what family? The licorice family, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really healthy.
Thank you,
Oh, you're
everybody.
welcome.
I appreciate it.
And
I'm a
coriander. And this is really good, and this is from the same as the cilantro. It's from here. You don't like cilantro?
What is it?
Yeah, it is. It's really,
What is it?
it's coriander. Yeah, it's good for your stomach and yeah, it depends. You can't blend it with other things, you know. It doesn't blend well with other. Yeah, it's amazing. Some people don't like it, or it doesn't like them. Yeah, so yes, and then we also have. Let's see. Another one I have is my favorite is cardamom pods. The little black cardamom. That's what I add in the rice, the grains. Yeah, and with the fruits, works really well. Okay. Yeah. So, are there any questions? Questions? Anyone? You gonna try something?
Now, if you write down this address, 1925 San Pablo, you can go there. It's right across, it's in Berkeley. It's right there where you know where Wells Fargo is, or across the street from Everett Jones parking. Well, you were able to pick up this for $1.49 at the Pakistani store. Now, if you were to go to a Hold Up or a Whole Paycheck Foods, this amount will cost you about $10 or $11.
Turmeric, and we get it from the Pakistani Indian store in Berkeley. Yeah, and you can get all the different spices and herbs for a very low cost because that's part of their diet, you know, every day. And that should be part of our diet too, but we somewhat forgot, you know, eating somebody else's diet.
I used to get it from the other pharmacy, but closed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
another health alert we want to talk about is that SOY, soy.
Soy.
I mean, with just the mere mention of the name, it brings fear to some of us. It brings trepidation. It brings memories that you don't want to go back to. And that's simply because marketing is wonderful. You know, it can have adverse effects. The marketers here, and you can only imagine, they say, well, look, in Japan and China, you have those people that eat soy, and they don't have as many health challenges with prostate and with fibroids and some cancers. So soy should be the way to go. But see, what they didn't tell us the whole story is that farmers and poor peasants then that did not have the money to buy meat, they would use a soybean as a substitute, but only after it had been fermented a certain way. And that fermentation property, the way they did it, the process, would take out some of the contaminants or neutralize some of the stuff that wasn't good to eat. And they just didn't eat it by itself. They ate it with all of their other vegetables, they ate it with fish broth, and as a result, it looked like that was happening. But here, they brought over soy, but unfermented soy, like tofu. And see, the majority of it, 98% of it, is genetically engineered.
GMO.
And when you couple to the fact that soy, if it's unfermented, it has some serious health challenges. First, it stops the uptake of certain minerals and vitamins in your body, like calcium, magnesium. In our book, we have an example of a brother who has a 2-year-old daughter, and he had switched to soy milk. Well, she went to the dentist, and she had a mouthful of cavities. He said, what? 2 years old. Did his research. He found that it stops the uptake of certain minerals, such as calcium, which is needed for your teeth and your bones. We have another brother in there, Brother Malik. He switched to soy milk because he thought it was a more healthy alternative. Well, after a little while, he looked in the mirror and the brother saw that he had breasts. He said it was about a size C cup. And so, being a very religious brother himself, he said, well, look, Allah, if you help me get off this soy, I'll never go back to it again. And he did not. And his body's back in place, too.
Do you recommend coconut milk or what kind of milk?
I would recommend instead of that, yeah, you can do almond milk. Yes, almond milk, pink milk,
What about lactate?
lattes.
Lactate. That's what
No, I don't recommend any animal product. And you came in, but what we talked about earlier was that doesn't
Pardon me again.
the bones is really good. This one with the melon that you had, I already put you.
Oh, but thank you.
I want you to see better, you hear better.
You get a chance
The
to,
bones,
you know, it's gonna be plenty
not
left.
bones, but
Okay.
and the melon, you have, the muscle twitch is a lot faster, okay? Your body is so much different from them, when you're having more sulfur in your body. That's why when they get wet, they give out the smell. Or more of the salt in them. So they get warm.
And your
We started that.
gotta get some flyers for, we have an event.
A standard like yours and mine, or one of Europeans, right? So it becomes what? Overdose, given the wrong medication, bloopy-bloopy-blam, very problematic. So, to erase all of that, what we suggest is just go back to something simple. We call it alkaline, plant-based. Fruits, vegetables, legumes, that's your beans, your seeds, and your grains. Stay away from the acid stuff. And what is acid? Your white sugar, white salt, white flour, caffeine, alcohol, and any animal product. That means milk, cheese, dairy, any kind, that's butter. All of that stuff is animal protein, animal. And see, your body is too acid for it. So in order for your body to assimilate it or break it down, it has to take minerals from your body. Example, you're taking calcium from your bones to be able to assimilate meat. Now, even though your bones are 10 times stronger or denser than